And then I'm going to introduce Marie, who I have known for I don't know how many years, but I do trust her enough that I gave her my retirement money and said, "Here." And I said, she said, I've told this story more than once, Marie. She said, "What is your plan for retirement?" And I said, "I don't want to be a Walmart greeter." So, so, so she's got my
Hey,
money.
everybody's got to have goals.
That's my goal is I want to, when I retire, I want to really stay retired because I see lots of people that are my age and older work in retail and doing some jobs, and I would like not to do that. And so I'm very happy with what's happened. I asked Maria if she would talk to us and make us smarter than what we are about what you can do with your money, and she said yes. So I'm glad that she's here, and I'm going to there it is. She's going to share her screen right there, and we're going to get started.
Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I am honored. I've heard great things about this group, and I'm really honored to be here with you guys today. As Gila said, my name is Marie Gooch, and I am actually a certified financial planner. So what does that mean? What do I do? Basically, I collaborate with my clients to create holistic financial plans that provide a roadmap for achieving their financial and their life goals. I am definitely of the believer that, money is just a means to an end. It's just a tool. And what is really important are you're living according to your values and according to your goals. I have to start with the legal stuff. So just know that all of this is for informational purposes only. It's not intended to provide, nobody make a major financial decision based on what I'm saying tonight. It's not a tax advice. It's not legal advice. It's not an estate advice. The opinions are mine. And if you are going to make a major financial move, you should definitely think about talking to your advisor if you have one, or to a qualified professional. So there we go. So we're going to talk about investing today. We're going to talk about some basics. But since your financial life encompasses so much more than just investments, I'm going to start by addressing a few of the many money myths out there. I will pause for questions. But if you have a burning question, either use the little raise your hand icon or just interrupt me. That's fine. I'm fine with that. So, because my most important goal today isn't to get through all my slides and present all this information. My most important goal is to make sure that I address any questions that you guys might be coming in with. And hang on just a second. I'm trying to get to where I can see more of you guys. All right, so we're going to do some money myths, and I'm going to put the myth up. And if you want to, you can say whether you think this statement is true or false. Okay. So first one, people in their 50s who are behind on retirement savings do not have time to catch up. Is that true or false?
False.
False.
It is indeed false. Yes, it is indeed false. Folks in their 50s may have to save more, or even in their, sometimes I have clients who are in their early 60s who are still preparing for retirement, and that's okay. That's why there are higher contribution limits. If anyone on here is still working and you're going to be 60, 61, 62, or 63 on the last day of this year, there are actually there's a new contribution amount of $10,000 extra that you can put into your employer retirement plan. So that's kind of nice. We're giving those of us who have crossed the 50 mark and even the 60 mark a chance to put some more money inside, more money aside. You should eliminate all debt before retirement. True or false?
In a dream world, it would be right, but you don't have to, right?
Okay, to have that and absolute
credit. I think Cliff said false. Yes.
Yes.
Maggie, what did you say?
What I was saying was it's great to have debt or open new credit. It's okay to have debt.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there are a lot of money gurus out there who are, you should have no debt ever, zero debt. I'm of the belief that there's good debt and bad debt.
Sure.
Putting your new pair of shoes on a credit card that has 28% interest, that's probably bad debt. Mortgages, specifically, I would say that is okay debt. That's good debt. If you're making extra payments, I have a lot of clients ask me about this. They're like, should I pay my mortgage off early? Think about it. If you're making extra payments on a loan where you're getting a 3.5% interest rate, and if you itemize your deductions, that interest is deductible, as opposed to maybe putting that same payment, extra payment, into an investment account where maybe you can earn 5% or 6%. You can always some kind of sock that money away, earn some interest on it, and then if you want, then you can pull out a chunk and pay off your mortgage early. Now, that being said, I know paying off the mortgage is not always a logical decision. For a lot of people, this is a very emotional decision. I know for both my parents and my mother-in-law, it was something that, really, it was part of their identity. They were going to be the people who paid off their home before they retired. There's that sense of accomplishment. There's that sense of security. So again, this is an example of one size does not fit all when it comes to this decision. If you're already retired at 62, hey, let's go ahead and take that Social Security. So taking Social Security as soon as you can is the best strategy.
True.
True? From Nikki? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Nikki, and then not to put you on the spot, Nikki, but if you're willing, can you share kind of why that's your feeling?
It's my feeling because if I'm 62 and I start taking it, I mean, I realize that you can get more money if you wait, but nothing says I'm going to live until I'm 67.
Right.
So I think if I start taking it at 62, even though the payout isn't as much a month, if I wait, I think over time I'll get more out of it than I will if I wait until I'm older.
Okay, that's fair. That is absolutely a valid opinion on that. I would say taking it early isn't always the best strategy. It is Social Security and when to take it is one of those things that really depends on the individual. I have clients who, I have one client, she's an artist and, she's really struggling. And so, I'm like, just go ahead and take your Social Security. It's okay. I have other clients who, they've got maybe a good federal pension, they've got other money, and they don't need it. So it's like, let's go ahead and wait because you're going to get more if you wait until later. So one of the things I do work with my clients on is Social Security maximization. But again, it's another thing, not a one size fits all. Taking it early. The most successful investment strategy is to time the market. True or false?
False.
That is false. What is the most successful investment strategy?
I don't know.
Consistency.
Consistency, yes. We say it's time in the market, not timing the market. Nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody, even Warren Buffett, is able to time the market. And if you're in kind of that mode of I'm going to sell and then I'm going to buy and then I'm going to sell and then I'm going to buy, basically what happens is you're making emotional decisions. And research has shown that getting into a portfolio that's right for your risk tolerance, your risk capacity, your timeline, and your goals, and then stay in there over time, that is what delivers better results. So I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of the buy and hold strategy. I am boring. Let's not do anything wild and crazy. So this one's kind of a esoteric one. Let's say you form a trust and you're putting all your assets into the trust. Should you put your IRA into that trust?
Mm.
Oh, I have zero idea. I'm just gonna say that. I have I'm not, I have a 50-50 chance of being right.
This is kind of a mean one. Probably a lot of financial advisors don't know the answer to this one. On all things trusts, always consult with an estate attorney. So first of all, you can't title an IRA into a trust. The I in IRA stands for individual, so it must be an individual account. One of the decisions people run up with is if they have a trust, should they make their trust the beneficiary of their IRA? And unless your beneficiaries are minors or incapable of handling the assets, like if there's addiction issues or something along those lines, it's just easier if you designate an individual or individuals to be your beneficiaries. Basically, a trust is designed to avoid probate. So, life insurance and other accounts like IRAs that have a named beneficiary, they don't go through probate anyway, so no reason to put those things into a trust. So now you know. You should prioritize saving for retirement or saving for yourself over doing things for your kids and your grandkids. Now, we probably have
Absolutely.
the logical answer and we have the emotional answer on this one.
I said absolutely, but I'm kidding. So sorry.
Retirement over kids.
Retirement over kids, yeah. So, and I know this is a tough one, especially for those grandbabies, right? Think about this. One of the best things you can do for your kids and your grandkids is to take care of yourself. My parents did not have the money to send me to college. I put myself through college. I joined the military so I could get my college paid for because at the time my parents were kind of in their prime saving for retirement years. So now that I'm in my late 50s and my parents are moving into their late 70s, the fact that my sister and I don't have to worry about them financially. We don't have to worry if they need home health care. We don't have to worry about leaving our jobs. We're both self-employed. We don't have to worry, if my dad passes and, my mom being taken care of because they made sure that they were going to be secure. So to me, that is the absolute best gift you can give your kids or your grandkids is for them to not have to worry about you monetarily later in life. Everyone needs a budget regardless of income.
Yes,
Yes,
true.
true,
Yes.
absolutely. Doesn't matter if you make 50,000 or 500,000. I prefer the term spending plan, and I think it's because it's important to be intentional with your money. For me, financial satisfaction is when your spending aligns with your values, as opposed to. So for me, rather than approaching a spending plan as deprivation. Oh, I got to give up this. Oh, I can't go to Starbucks because, I've got to put that money in my retirement account instead. I'm going to, as long as my choices are aligning with my values, that's what's important. So let's say somebody has health as part of their, one thing I do with my clients is we uncover their top 5 values. Let's say somebody has health as one of their top values. They may decide to devote a little more to groceries so that they can pay for fresh organic food. Cliff, I see you have a bike in the background. My husband's a cyclist. That's not exactly the least expensive hobby on the planet to have, but obviously your health is important to you. And so that's something that you prioritize. If somebody has giving as one of their top 5 values, and maybe they want to make sure that they're devoting a certain amount toward the causes that they believe in, and they may feel okay giving up something in another category in order to do again what they feel is aligned with them. So spending plan is not about deprivation, it's putting your money toward what is important to you and knowing where your money's going. I would say of my clients, probably over 50%, when I ask the question, how much do you spend a month or what are your bills every month? Most of them cannot answer without doing the seat of your pants math. all right, okay, let's see. My TEP is normally about 130, and then our mortgage is 1,600, and they have to kind of go through all the items. Ideally, you want to be able to name I can name my non-discretionary amount, the amount I have to pay in bills every month down to the dollar. It's an important number to know. And the final one, only wealthy people can and should invest. Investing is for
False.
rich people. That is false. Absolutely, that is false. There are ways that really anyone can invest, and there are actually tools out there. There's an app called Acorns. Has anybody heard of that?
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
used it a few years ago, but basically with Acorns, you can set it up so every time you make a purchase, so let's say I, go to the store and I spend $73.50, it'll take your purchase and it'll round it up to the next dollar, and it'll put that 50 cents into your investment account. And it really is cool kind of how fast that can add up. So you don't have to, have $100,000, $500,000, or even $10,000 in order to be able to take advantage of investing.
Marie, how do you spell acorns? Is it just like the things on the
It's like the
tree?
nut, ACORNS.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Any other questions for me? So I've got a question for you. So why invest?
Hedge against inflation.
Yes, Maggie, absolutely. That is probably the number one reason to invest. The people think, oh, if I keep my money under my mattress or if I keep my money in the bank, then it's got no risk. Well, you do have purchasing power risk. All of us are of the age where we can remember back in the day. I remember back in the day when I was in high school, $10 would fill up my gas tank and buy me a pack of cigarettes. Luckily, I don't smoke anymore, because if I did, it would probably be $10 just to buy the pack of cigarettes. So just a couple of examples to drive this point home. If I were to buy something for $2,000 today at 3% inflation, that same item would cost me $26.87. So I'm losing out. I've got $687 less in purchasing power in 10 years. In 20 years, that purchase would cost me $3,612. So almost double. So that is why it's important to at least have something in an investment account. And I know people think, well, hey, I'm already retired, I can invest. Retirement is not, we often think of like working and retirement. Retirement is here, it's hard stop. Retirement is actually a phase. And for some people, depending on when you retire, you could be retired for 15, 20, 25, 30 years. So even if you're already retired, you may still have a timeline where you can put some of your money toward working for you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, I'm going to go through some investing lingo. Before I got into this profession, and I'm what they call a career changer. I actually got into the realm of finance in my 50s. Before that, I made all the financial mistakes, and I didn't know what any of those words meant. And I thought it was confusing and boring and all the things. And that it was like this language that, other people knew, but I didn't. So let's demystify some of that. So this way, even if you're not planning on going out and investing anything, if you hear something on the news or you read something in the paper or you're looking at a statement for an investment account that you have, you'll be better able to decipher the investment lingo. So we're going to go through some types of investments. Stocks. Everybody's heard of stocks. You may also hear them referred to as equities, because when you buy a stock, you actually now own a piece of that company. So you're buying ownership with a stock. Now, stocks can be kind of classified or categorized in several different ways. There we've got large cap, mid cap, and small cap. That's basically the size. Cap stands for capitalization, and it's the size of the company. So a large cap would be something like a Walmart or an Amazon, one of these big companies you've heard of. A small cap could be something like Natural Grocers. They have stock, and they are a smaller company. As far as risk and volatility, your large cap are going to be less risky and less volatile than your small cap. And when I say volatile, I'm talking about how much you stand to lose, but that is also related to how much you stand to gain. With a small cap, you can lose more, but when the market's doing well, you can also gain more. They can be classified by place. We have U.S. Stocks. We have international. If you see international, that means a developed market. We're talking about, Japan or United Kingdom or Canada. Emerging markets would be someplace like Brazil or India. And same thing, U.S., kind of the least risky for U.S. investors. Emerging markets are going to be the most risky. They can be divided up by sector. So we've got consumer goods, we've got energy, we got tech. Probably is no surprise that tech stocks, you can get a lot of growth. You can also see a lot of loss. Sectors are divided up into what we call defensive or cyclical. Defensive are things that no matter what's happening in the world or in the economy, we always need. We had a pandemic. We still needed groceries. We still needed toilet paper. And apparently we needed a lot of it. We still needed paper towels. So those are all defensive. Cyclical might be something like construction materials. So, construction kind of like has ebbs and flows. And in down economies, they're going to be a lot less construction than in up economies. You have types of stock. You have some companies will offer both. A preferred stock pays a dividend. So if you're looking to get income from your investments, having preferred stock is one way to do that. And then common stock don't pay dividends. So because a preferred stock is paying a dividend, it's not going to have as much growth or as much growth potential as, say, a common stock. Because when you think about it, that company's making money and then they're sending it out to their shareholders. Whereas a non-dividend stock, the company's making money and they're reinvesting it in the company. And then finally, you have two types of stock. You have value stock. Value stocks are stocks that are underpriced based on their potential. Warren Buffett is a huge fan of value stock investing. That's kind of how he made his fortune and how he made his name. Growth stocks, as their name suggests, are, like tech stocks. These are stocks that are expected to get a lot of growth. And then we have the other big one is bonds. Stocks we own, piece of the company. Bonds, we're actually lending money to the company or to the government entity, and we're getting paid interest. So these are also called debt securities or debt instruments. So we've got equities with stocks, we've got debt instruments with bonds. And bonds could be from the federal government. These are considered the safest investment because they're backed by the full faith and force of the U.S. government. There's different time periods, there's short-term, medium-term, long-term. Municipal bonds are, Pima County may issue a bond. The state of Arizona may issue a bond. And municipal bonds can have tax advantages. And then you've got your corporate bonds. So corporations will issue bonds as well. Maybe they're trying to raise money for a new development or a new project. And corporate bonds come in investment grade and high yield. So, wow, you're probably like, why wouldn't everybody want the high yield kind? That sounds better. If we were to go buy a car and we didn't have cash to pay for it, And we had to, finance that car. The car dealership is going to look at our credit. And the lower our credit, the higher the interest rate is going to be. Kind of a similar concept here. Investment grade corporate bonds are those that have a higher credit rating. So they have a higher credit rating, so they're going to pay you a lower amount of interest. High yield, also called junk bonds, are those with a lower credit, but they're going to pay out a higher interest rate. They're also riskier. So it's always about kind of balancing what return do I want with how much risk am I willing to take. And then there are alternatives. There's, things like real estate, precious metals, other things that don't fit into the stock or bond category. So how do you know how to mix all this stuff together and, how to pick and all that? Luckily, in this day and age, we don't have to. The best approach is diversification. And diversification can come through mutual funds, ETFs, and index funds. And you can think of a mutual fund or an ETF as like a basket. And within that basket, there are a bunch of different investments, and they have different types of mutual funds. They have bond mutual funds. They have all stock mutual funds. They have mutual funds and ETFs that are a mix of both. And then they have index funds. So indexes, there's the Dow Jones, there's the S&P 500, there's the Russell 2000. Those basically just track the performance of a group of stocks. And so let's say you wanted to invest. I want to invest in everything in the stock market. I want to invest in every single stock out there. There are index funds that will allow you to do that. So what these allow you to do is it allows you to get, a lot of different bonds and stocks, spread those eggs outside of just one basket and give you diversification. So diversification is really, really what we want to go for. And the mix, it's kind of like, your favorite brownie recipe. If you've got a good brownie recipe, maybe you like a really chewy brownie, or maybe you like more of the cake brownie, or maybe you have like a German chocolate brownie. And what you put into that brownie mix depends on the type of brownie you want to get out of it. So what you put in your investment portfolio really depends on what you want to get out of it. Your timeline, your goals, your risk tolerance, and your risk capacity are all things that we look at when deciding the right investment mix. And there are actually, obviously I'm an advocate for working with a professional financial advisor, but if that's not your jam, or you just want to kind of dip your toe, there are a lot of platforms now where they're called robo advisors. And if you're just looking at some simple investing, you go in, you answer some questions about the things I just talked about, and it will recommend a portfolio for you. So what questions do you have on any? I know that was a very fast introduction to investment terms. What questions or comments do you have for me?
I will ask. So let's say you had $500 that you knew that you wanted to do something with instead of putting the Wells Fargo bank and get a penny every year. Is that enough money to do any of these things that you've talked about, or do you need?
That would be enough money, most likely, to get some type of ETF fund or index fund, particularly if it's not managed. Platforms you can look at, as I said, are Acorns. Robinhood is another kind of self-investing platform. You could, Fidelity is really good for individual investors. Vanguard has a lot of great investment options and very low fees.
I think, one other thing too is that when you're a certain age, you can put in, I think it's $7,000 a year, even after you've started your IRA or whatever. So that $500 can go into an IRA, another IRA.
Yeah, so the only caveat with any type of employment account, including an IRA, is you have to have earned income.
Well, not IRA, I should say Roth.
Yes, yes. I think even with a Roth, you may have to have earned income. So I have a client, he's in his 80s, and he's a sample guy at the East Side Costco. So if you shop at the East Side Costco, you may have run into him.
I may have seen him today.
Yes,
Yeah.
you may have seen him today. So because he still is earning income, even though he has to take money out of his account every year for his required minimum distribution, if he wanted to, he could put money back into his account. You just can't. So yes, $7,000, $8,000 is actually $7,000 is the cap. If you make $5,000 in a year, you can put $5,000 into an IRA. It's got to be it can't go over what your earned income is. But if you are retired and you're not earning income, you can definitely put money into what we call a non-qualified account. That's just an investment account. That's not a retirement account, and it's got no restrictions on it for you. So great question.
Cliff would like to know the difference between a financial planner and a financial advisor.
Yeah, great. That's great, Cliff. And the thing is, in this industry, terms are used so interchangeably, and it's it's tough to know. In essence, a financial advisor tends to focus more on investments, whereas a financial planner, particularly a certified financial planner, we look more holistically. So for my planning clients, I'm talking to them about insurance. I don't sell insurance, but I'm looking at their home and auto insurance. I'm looking at their life insurance. I'm looking at their long-term care insurance. I'm looking at what they have set up for their estate plan. I'm reviewing their tax return to make sure, if they need to talk to their CPA about anything. I am reviewing investments. I'm helping them kind of figure out their goals and their values and what's the best way to get from point A to point B. So planners tend to be more holistic, and advisors in general tend to be more focused on the investment part. Planners, so the way I work is I do have investment clients, and I charge a fee. It's called an assets under management fee for my investment clients. But if somebody came to me, and I do have clients, they're like, I don't want you to manage my investments. I manage them myself, or all of my investments are in my employer plan, so you can't manage them. They can pay me a flat fee just to do financial planning for them. So yeah, if you wanted somebody, and then a wealth manager tends to do the same thing as an advisor, but for more high net worth clients. So if you're looking for a professional, it's very important, just like with a doctor, it's very important you ask a lot of questions and find the person that's going to be the best fit for you.
Okay, that's really good. Now Cliff wants to know about annuities. And I know that's a big topic because
so expand for me, Cliff. Do you have annuities? Are you what can I tell you about annuities?
Well, let me tell you my situation. I don't mind, telling everyone because it may be helpful also. But I had what was called a deferred comp plan with the city, and so part of it I put into a Roth, and part of it I put into the pre-tax, I guess.
Okay.
And the pre-tax was greater when I retired, though, because I'm retired now. The city ended up selling or recontracting after like 30 years with a new company or corporation
Okay.
that did that stuff. And so I was moved into that. I didn't have a great experience with them. They were hard to get in touch with. So I found out who the old company was, and they kind of grew into another company. And I put the Roth with them, the funds in the Roth IRA, but I took the other funds in the pre-taxed IRA and to a local person. And so he put it into this annuity. He said, "Oh, I'll put it into an annuity." And I'm kind of disappointed, frankly. I just don't know enough about how it works. And I have an appointment, an annual appointment with him tomorrow. And so I'm a little antsy about it. And it seems like it's not, if anything, it's losing money. It's not gaining money. I don't know it seems very complicated to me.
Yeah, annuities can be. Do you know if it is a variable annuity or a fixed annuity?
I think it's a fixed, what's it called? A fixed indexed annuity, but
Okay.
that's a question I have for
Yep.
tomorrow. But I'm pretty certain, pretty sure I should say that it's not a variable
Yeah.
annuity.
Yeah, so I think annuities, like any investment vehicle, have their place. Um, it depends on, if your goal is to absolutely lose nothing, you want to keep that money completely safe. You don't care about really earning anything on it, except maybe 1, 2%. Or you want to turn it into a stream of income, then annuity can be the right fit. The problem with an annuity is, so for example, once you annuitize it and you turn it into a stream of income, you can't go back. So you may have $200,000 that you put into this annuity. If you do annuitize it, you can't say, "Hey, I want to pull $50,000 out of that." That lump is gone. It just turns into a stream of income.
And that's really a good point because, and just to say it, that's really the a big thing to me, and it may be to others, because I was really tempted to transfer some money into the Roth, and I know generally you can go from one IRA to a Roth, IRA so much per year, and then you have to pay
Yeah,
the tax, all
you
that
just have to
stuff.
pay tax. You just have to pay tax on the amount
But
that you
then I was told
transfer.
by the people I have the Roth with that, oh, if it's an annuity, you're going to get double taxed. You're going to get taxed again for
Yeah,
putting
when it comes,
even any proceeds, when it's paying out the RMDs or whatever you
yeah,
talk.
whether you annuitize it or you just take a one-time distribution, yeah, annuities, you are taxed on the gain. If it was retirement money, you are taxed on. They look at, basically it's a formula, and when you pull out money, they look at, okay, what is the percentage in the account that's principal and what is the percentage that is gains, and that's what they tax you on. So yes, there would be a double tax there. The kind of the thing about your story that is most distressing to me, and that I have the biggest problem with people in this industry, is that it sounds like this person did not really ask you a lot of questions. It's basically, "Oh, hey, you have retirement funds, you need to put it into an annuity." And also sounds like didn't really do a good job of making sure you understood and were comfortable with that investment.
Yeah.
It wasn't,
Well, let me just tell you,
it's
he
not New
was
York
saying the
Life, is it?
payout would be so much per month. Then he made a mistake. I went back after about 3 months and he said, no, it's going to be a bit less. And then I get the thing from the company, their annual thing, and it's much less than
Yeah.
that even. So that's what I'm very disappointed about. So
I want to say something about annuities too. My experience of having an annuity has been a devastating loss for me. And
I'm so sorry.
I've had financial advisors say to me, because I've had people look at my situation and literally they go, "I am so sorry." Now, 10 years ago, had I paid the fees that I would have had to pay to close it up and get it out of there in the last 10 years, I would have made that up and then some with the market as it was over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm drawing on mine and it's, for life. And I've accepted that this is what I did. And whatever. So I think Frontline did a story on annuities and they're horrible. I wouldn't wish an annuity on anybody. So yeah. So because the fees and the hidden stuff and it's like double wrapped and it's like impossible to get out. It's like they have your money. So
And it's especially variable annuities. I mean, those fees are so hidden. I have a client right now and I said, how much are you paying in fees on your annuity? She said, oh, my advisor at the annuity company told me I'm not paying anything. I'm like, oh, that is not true. So,
And Maggie, I want to tell you, Maggie and I know each other, but thank you for sharing that with me.
yeah, and thanks for bringing it up. I mean, I think it's really important for everybody to hear it, and we all do the best we can, and it's not my wheelhouse, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So
one thing, so for those of you maybe going forward or spread the word on this, there are a group of advisors out there like me who are fee-only advisors. And what that means is, so an annuity is a commissioned product. Life insurance is a commissioned product. Fee-only advisors do not earn, we don't sell anything, we don't sell products, and we are not able to take commissions. So I may occasionally recommend an annuity to a client, but I'm not, there's no financial incentive for me. Whereas the folks out there selling these annuities, they make a great commission. And it just turns my stomach that there are people in this industry for whom that is the most important factor. Cliff, you're going to get my information at the end of this. If you want me, no cost, no obligation, if you want me to look through your annuity statement and give you my thoughts, I'm happy to do that for you. Just let me know.
Marie, I would super like to do that.
Good.
And maybe, a follow-up, I would be pleased to meet with you at some point too.
Oh, good. Lovely. I would like that as well. So it's just
I just want to say, I'll just interrupt and say one thing about annuities and just say again, I will confirm how confusing it is. I'm a retired federal employee and I have what they call a TSP, is what you put your money into. And they really, really push when you retire to turn it into an annuity. And I spent, this was before I knew Marie, I think. And I spent so much time looking into it. And I don't know any of this stuff that we just talked about. That's why I have Marie. And I just dodged the bullet. I was lucky that I dodged it because I looked at the annuity and because it was once you buy this prize, it's yours to keep and there's no changing of your mind. I had to dig to find that part. But when I found that part, I said, oh, no, because that just can't be. So it is. Now we know that we need to talk more about annuities because that's how confusing that is.
And why do plans like the TSP encourage that? Because they get to keep your money. They're making money by investing your money, and if you're not moving your money out of there, you're just kind of getting it doled out in an annuity. They get to keep your money for longer. So, and again, there are times when I have a couple of clients from the past that their best option was to do an annuity. But for the most part, I'm in the industry and I find parts of annuities confusing. I have to go through the statements and really, get into the weeds. So,
Marie, one more question, if I may, and
Sure.
it won't, I don't think it'll take a lot, but so in this annuity, can you take more than your RMDs? Just a yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as you haven't annuitized it, you can pull out, make periodic withdrawals of any amount that you want. Now, what you got to look at though is there a surrender charge? If you're still in a surrender period, because a lot of annuities, you know, they have like and I think that's what Maggie was talking about when she said if she would have paid to get out of the annuity. A lot of annuities have a surrender period where you are charged for taking your money out. They'll give you like a free withdrawal amount. Sometimes it's 5%, sometimes it's 10%. If you withdraw more than that, then you are paying a fee basically to take your own money out.
Okay.
So some
And
common
I will go over that with you then,
Okay.
you know, separately.
Yeah,
So,
perfect.
okay.
Perfect. Would be happy to meet with you. So you don't want to chase hot investments. Don't watch too much financial news. You know, my investment philosophy of just getting you in a portfolio and staying there, that's boring. That would never be a show on CNBC. So they have to make up like all this, you know, hoo-ha and excitement and all that. So just, yeah, I don't even pay attention to that. Thinking that investing doesn't matter after retirement, because it does. Like, as I said, you know, retirement isn't, you know, you could be 25, 30 years in retirement. And then the big thing is not diversifying properly. So you guys have had some great questions. Any other questions for me?